first thing you should do, one of the things I believe you should do, is if you give you should give something with instructions on it. You should never give something and say, okay, this is like, say I had, I'll use this as an example. Say I just didn't have all this on it and I said, how much do you know what ASD, and you use that as an essay, okay? That would be, if you use that as the only line, we'd be like, what are we supposed to write about? And that makes it very confusing. So you wouldn't want to require all this information, so then we could write the essay and we could do a very good job on that essay, and so that we didn't do a bad job. And you want a lot of information, like I said in my prior point. You want a lot of information. People need the autism need to know what they're going to do, because if you don't know what you're doing, then it makes it more confusing. Even for regular people, probably. It makes it very confusing. Like, what? I can't have a thing with what is instruction on it.
Exactly.
What's helped you transition from high school to a college atmosphere, or going into this college atmosphere? High school tends to be more structured.
Wait.
Tell them about the Latch program, Rosie.
Okay, so I'm going into what they call the, I'll tell about the Latch program. Yeah. Thanks, Steve. So from high school, there was no programs for kids or anything. There was just, that's very, high school, and there was you would go 5 days a week for 6 hours. Now when you transfer into college, there's a program called the Latch program that helps kids, not just with disabilities, but disabilities or have a hard time learning, and they help them and tell them what to do. It's like a learning community. And tell them, here's how you do math, here's how you do English, here's how you do this, that. But those are their two main things that they want to teach you. So it helps you so you can never fall behind on an assignment. They'll tell you about it, and it makes it much easier. So the Latch program, yeah, and in college I only have to go 3 days a week: Monday, Friday, and Wednesday. So the transition is a big, huge transition because there's two different worlds you've been living in. High school for 4 years now, and you're like, I'm not going to go to Dexter anymore, and this is more confusing. But I'm very excited about it because I get to go to a new world where I get to expand and learn more about how to be a good public speaker and to learn how to do this more often.
Is the Latch program part of the college?
Yes, it is. It's not outside the college, or it's not anything. It's a program. They have different programs, so that's one of the programs that they have. I don't know what the name of the other ones are called, but it's in the college, and it's in the technology building, because they label their letters for where this is liberal arts, this is fine arts, this is whatever, etc. It's a very small college. It's not too big. So it is part of the college. It is part of Massasoit, yeah.
How long have you been doing this, talking to people about?
This is my 11th school, and I've been doing it since the age of 14. I was 14 when I started. I made a video, it was called, and at the end of it I said, don't limit your dreams. And it was a 50-second video. And I didn't know how good it was, really. I just thought, maybe this is just going to be, I was a little bit humble about it. This is just a good video. I just feel like doing this. And then when it went viral, 500 people liked it in one day. It was so popular. It was a very popular video, I'm telling you. And I didn't think it was going to be popular at all. I was like, oh, I'll just try and get the word across here. So that's why, and that "Don't Miss Your Dream" has been my catchphrase ever since.
Any other questions? Does humor help you in learning? Did you feel like that helped you in high school? What do you think?
Like silly humor?
Yeah, like what helped you, what made you like your teachers?
They were nice. They weren't like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I get it. I don't get what you're saying. I don't get any of the words. You're just like, or saying it, and it's like if they don't use specific language, it's very good for me. And what made me like Miss Zeller is she talked slowly and said, okay, this is what we're doing today. And then I always got what Miss Zeller was doing today. And that what made her a likable teacher. And when people talk slowly, that's what the most likable thing about them. And then most of all, they have to be sweet too. They can't be like fakes. You have to be a sweet, nice person. You can't just pretend to like someone and you guys, wait a second, you're not actually liking me?
You can tell.
Yeah, you can tell, it's pretty obvious. And you always want a teacher that's going to be nice to you. You always want that. You always want to be respected, and you always want to be treated with that kind of teachings person like Ms. Zeller.
Did you have certain subjects that you felt were easier for you or some were more challenging?
Oh yeah, my most challenging subject was math because it was like, okay, this variable x equals this, y equals this. I'm like, this makes no sense to me. What the heck are you talking about? But then when it came, and then English and science were both in the middle, okay? And then it came to history, I was brilliant in that. I was really, 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 really good. And I got A's in that class all the time. I was so good in history because I liked all the facts about all of the people and the different people that I was learning about. All those people fascinated me. Like this is the history of the United States. This is what it was like all those years ago. And this is, if they didn't do this, what would our world be like today? So it was that thing that interested me. And my teacher, Mr. Kennedy, he made mostly interesting. And he would play games on the board, and then games on the board about history, and then if you got it right, he's like, "Good golly jingles!" He was so funny. Literally, that's what. When I go back to humor, that's what kind of a teacher you need, like that, Mr. Kennedy.
Awesome. Great. Any last questions while we have Rosie here? Awesome. Well, we're so glad you came.